It is America last, as Federal Disaster Relief Agency FEMA reports it is broke because it pissed it all away on illegals, foreign aid, and Ukraine, instead of, say, the American people. So says the Department of Homeland Security, with Secretary Mayorkas confessing, quote, FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season. Note, this is after Dems strong-armed $12 billion last year for FEMA by holding it hostage to Ukraine aid, and then Mike Johnson poured another $20 billion in just for good measure a few weeks ago. Now, FEMA's foreigner-depleted cupboards could be part of why the White House has dragged its feet, declaring Title X, which sends military resources into disaster zones to help rescue, largely leaving rescue to private volunteers, truck drivers, helicopter pilots, and people with boats dubbed the Cajun Navy, some of whom, incidentally, have been threatened with arrest or had their supplies confiscated. Of course, even if you don't arrest them, there's only so many private volunteers with helicopters, and they don't have billions of dollars hijacked from taxpayers and then given away to import new voters or pay military contractors. For starters, considering the 82nd Airborne is literally based in North Carolina and deploys in hours halfway around the world, it might be nice to get some help. Ironically enough, just last week, Mr. Biden announced another $2.4 billion to Ukraine, aid that has historically included generators and transformers that are now desperately needed in North Carolina. Of course, it wasn't just Ukraine. Everybody from Taiwan to Djibouti has apparently been feasting, whilst our own people go without. And that apparently includes the millions of illegals who showed up uninvited. Thanks to X, we have the receipts for program after program shipping out FEMA money for illegals, $100 million at a time. The New York Post tallies these to at least $1.4 billion in disaster relief repurposed to bribe sanctuary cities to import replacement workers, especially in swing states. As America First Legal put it, quote, over the last 4 years, the Biden administration has steadily transformed FEMA into an illegal alien resettlement agency. So it's red carpets for illegals, $200 billion for Mr. Zelensky, and boiling swamp water for North Carolina. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. For literally millennia, disaster relief has been a touchstone of a functioning government. In China, for example, a bad response to a natural disaster was taken as a revocation of the mandate of heaven, the sovereign's right to rule. This is part of the reason that even today, countries like Japan, where I am now, take natural disasters very seriously because the people are watching and remembering. In America, our federal government has long since lost that mandate. FEMA was a disaster in Katrina, in COVID, in Palestine, Ohio, and now in North Carolina. So how did it get this bad? Easy, because the bureaucracy took over, replacing the people via something called the Pendleton Act, which I'll cover in an upcoming video. This means the government's goal is not serving the people or fixing the problem, but feathering its own nest, expanding its power, and rewarding the donors and lobbyists who paid the politicians to give them that power in the first place. One video out of North Carolina captures the shift perfectly. A police officer threatening to arrest a local couple for trying to salvage their flooded store before looters get to it. There was a time that officer would have rolled up his sleeves and pitched in to help because his job was protect and serve. But those days are gone. Protect and serve has now become neglect and harass, at least if you're American. A new episode of the Roundup podcast just dropped. Check it out at petersanons.com or wherever you enjoy your podcasts. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.